Welcome to this webinar from Cranfield University. My name is Toby Thompson. I work here at Cranfield doing live events such as this. We're joined by Nemanja Radic today, and later up in this hour or 45 minutes we're going to be joined by Matthias Nnadi as well, talking about the MSc here at Cranfield in Finance and Management, and I believe also Investment and Management.
Yes,
is that
yeah,
two MScs. So you are in the right place if you're interested in finance and management and investment in management. So don't go thinking you're in the wrong place, you're in the right place. And we look forward to welcoming you to Cranfield when the course starts. This is around about a 45-minute session, live session. We do want your questions. So please find the text chat panel somewhere down here and write your questions. No audio questions, unfortunately, but text questions, we welcome them. We thrive on them. Nemanja and Matthias will be able to answer, hopefully, those questions. So keep them coming. We may come round to the questions nearer the end, but if you want me to interrupt either of our two speakers today, who are the course director and the deputy course director for the program, then this is a good opportunity to do that. We were hoping to get some students today, but we didn't do that, so we got a video of one of the students on the course. So Nemanja, tell me roughly who is the course directed to? Who are the people joining us online right now?
Well, first, hi everyone, welcome to the webinar as well, and we are delighted to try to answer some of your questions. My guess would be that you are students who are looking to make a decision whether you join Cranfield or not. You might be with an offer, or you might be just looking to make an application. In either way, we welcome your applications and we welcome any questions, even if you don't apply for the program. We are more than happy to answer those.
So you heard that here first. Please get those questions lined up. And if you think of a question and then another one, please type them into the text chat box and address them to everyone so everyone benefits from that. So in terms of Masters in Finance and Management, can you give us a market outlook? How is it looking globally, financially? I was at a conference yesterday in UK government in Whitehall talking about the demise of globalization and the liberal order.
Yes.
What's happening in terms of financial markets?
Yes, I mean, we have students often coming and asking us, if we finish a master, we expect certain type of the job, we expect certain type of the career, we want to work in certain type of the region and so on. So we always advise them, you have to look at the macro factors, you have to look at globally, and the globally is, as you pointed out correctly, is that we have a shift from globalization to localization. So, and there are two factors in that. You can have one factor which would be a political factor. So you have in the West, in Western countries, you have a political decision in the essence of trying to protect domestic industries, or some people call it moving towards the right, imposing tariffs on goods. US is one of the first countries to introduce those things, renegotiate some trade deals with different countries, not following the World Trade Organizational rules. And then you had the UK now with Brexit and so on. So it is quite a reverse trend of the Reagan era, where we have liberalization and globalization. That is what is happening on the political level. On the other side, which is also interesting, markets, if you look at the Wall Streets, are completely reacting differently. They do not price localization. They price companies who invest globally, especially in the tech industry and pharmaceuticals and so on, and they reward those companies still. So while politically we have a shift towards localization, protection of the industries, maybe bringing some jobs locally, we have Wall Street and other financial markets not recognizing that and continuing to reward companies that invest globally. So yes.
So now is a good time to do a master's degree because the world is changing massively.
Yes.
These are huge changes.
Yes, it is.
And you cover that on the program, is that right?
Yes, we do. We have a quite variety of different speakers from different industries. We have different intakes, not just theoretical but also practical, and we try to have for students different perspectives. So what we want in the essence to try to confuse them, because you have to be always ready to move, and this is one key skill that you have to be today, especially in the financial services. You have to be adaptable, and you have to be willing to change constantly. So 1 to 3 years is the time that you're always looking to add new skills, or even change careers or change jobs, and this is just the way financial markets and financial industry work these days, unfortunately.
So you were serious about being confused. So if you're thinking of coming on this program, be prepared to be confused. If that's something you don't like doing, I guess you'll do it in your real work and your jobs then don't come to Cranfield. But if you're prepared to be confused, come here.
Toby is a little bit we are yes, a little bit. So we're trying to get you a little bit guessing, and we want you out of your comfort zone, in different words. Yeah. So if you are out of your comfort zone, you're going to put more effort and you're going to dedicate more resources, adopt new skills, and be more willing to change and move in careers, which is now fundamental skills in any kind of job.
So say something about the UK economy.
Okay.
Where's that headed? And I'm presuming that's again a topic in this course as well.
Yes, one of the questions that we always have was always, especially last year and the last 2 years, what is happening with the Brexit? I'm coming to study in the UK, how this is going to impact me, what are my job prospects, and so on. Good thing, hopefully, this is now, we can say that we are coming to a close to all of this experience. Officially, we have a new agreement, or new withdrawal agreement, should I say. So some of the uncertainty has been removed. Some signals have already been sent to the students. You probably will be in the new 2-year tier visa requirement, so you will not be under like other previous year students. That's one advantage, I'm guessing. Another one will be that the businesses can finally move on and allocate more resources to invest into people, infrastructure, into hiring, and so on. And I guess the only thing that we are now expecting by the end of the year is a final agreement on whatever the trade deal is going to be, and that will relax the markets and allow businesses to plan more than 1 year and allocate resources to that.
But the UK have now got to earn a seat at the WTO and get new rules as a single trading partner.
Well, this is the choice, but I'm sure with enough resources that can be achieved. So I'm not that worried about that. If there is a will, political will, there is a way always.
So property markets, how's that looking like in the UK?
It's looking much better this year. I mean, if I look at, for example, GDP growth was very slow last year. They were looking at 1.6% this year, which is much significantly higher than last year, maybe almost 2% next year. So there is some recognition of the markets in that context as well. One concern was business investment in the UK, so how businesses react to these kind of uncertain times and climate. So we have had forecast for in 2019 decline of 1.6%. We are looking at zero rate at 2020, assuming that there is no deal, assuming if the deal comes on board, some kind of tariff trade deals or whatever they agree, that would probably increase the business confidence. So businesses can look to increase capital expenditure and then hire new people and open the businesses and so on.
So how's it looking for foreign direct investment? That's looking good at the moment?
It's looking very promising. Actually, there have been some trends. There has been a lot of talk before Brexit and of the implication of the Brexit. But now I think foreign investors are finally looking at the UK as, okay, Brexit has happened. The country is moving on. We are going to look now to invest because there are comparative advantages here that we can exploit. I guess for our students, what is important, City of London is always in top 2 financial markets in the world, so there is always a lot of money in investments here, so this is not going to change irrespective of Brexit.
Before we come on to the US-China trade conflict, and I'm sure you've got views on that, if you have any questions about what's covered here at the Cranfield course, MSc in Finance and Management, now's your chance to ask. So please type that question in. Why should you come to Cranfield? What's the course like? What's an average day like? So please keep those questions coming. Can I ask you then about foreign exchange and emerging markets?
Yes.
Say something more about the US-China trade conflict.
Yes, so this is one thing for our students. When you look at the financial news, you look at the analysts and so on, they always look at the US because this is the most important market because of the dollar, because of the financial markets that are there, the size of the market itself, the reach, investments in other countries and so on. And so it is always that they are leading the way, especially for financial innovation also and so on. So in that context, the rate on the Federal Reserve, interest rates, whether the dollar is appreciating, depreciating is always a factor that we look at. In the recent year or two, since Trump has been in charge, we're always looking at what are specific US policies, which before were predictable. Now they are more ad hoc and they can change day to day. So one of the concern for the emerging markets in particular was how this US-China trade war is going to pan out eventually. So everybody was worried in the beginning if they continue with the tariffs and sanctions, this is going to hit businesses across the world because we are talking about 2 strongest economies. Good news is while there has been some volatility in the market as a reaction to that, there have been signs of some agreement now, as they call it, a phase 1. And that has helped calm the markets, I guess, and the trade is continuing. There have been some signals from the Federal Reserve that they're looking to depreciate the dollar, which always benefits international trade and especially emerging markets. If China agrees with the US, particular tariffs on goods and services, protection of intellectual properties, that is just going to boost businesses even further. So one concern, though, in that context would be now, unfortunately, coronavirus that we have, everybody talks about that. I will not talk from medical point of view, I'll just give you one information that when we had SARS epidemic, a financial cost of the SARS epidemic at that time was around 30 billion US dollars.
Wow.
We are looking at roughly that or more by the end of this particular epidemic. So
Wow.
that will have some impact on the markets as well.
In terms of history too, what have we learned in the past, and we've gone through a financial crisis, of course, what can we apply from that learning to 2020?
Yes, a few things to look for, especially even for you and your careers. We have had a few important things to consider. So we have had in the West, especially Japan, US, even European countries and so on, we have had a policy of quantitative easing. So it was a support for the businesses. Actually, after the last financial crisis, 2007, a lot of money has been pumped into the system. Interest rates have been cut more than 700 times, for example. They have spent more than 700 trillion of US dollars to calm the market, to provide more liquidity. Japan and other countries have constantly introduced quantitative easing into the economy, so where they would buy government securities or they would buy corporate bonds, so then companies would have a fresh capital and they would be able to deal with non-performing loans, a lack of investments, and then what we are looking to translate this into more investments and more jobs as a consequence of that. One worry was actually a corporate sector. So if you pump so much money into the economy, you expect companies to do something with that. But I mean, a lot of these assets have stayed on the bank balance sheets, and they have not been used by the companies. So what companies have continued to do, they have continued to lend. So we have also seen a large increase in lending or borrowing from the corporations. We're looking at 12 trillion of US dollars in the past 10 years
Wow.
of the borrowing. So this is a serious concern going forward, whether we can continue in this tempo with borrowing. If not, we are very likely looking at some kind of raises in the interest rates, cuts or changes in the capital structure, cuts maybe in workforce and etc. and so on. So that is one of the reasons why I was suggesting you have to be flexible. So if one industry particularly is not hiring or is not performing very well, you just move into an industry that is booming at that particular time.
No, I was going to say, are you assuming then, I guess you are, that the audience logged in today are completely familiar with the landscape that you're painting?
No, but from my perspective of interacting with Cranfield students over the years, it has been that they have a particular way of looking what they want to do, what kind of profile they want to be. But I've noticed that there is lack for understanding for macro or global factors. Okay, so micro is fine, but you have to look a little bit broader than that, especially if you want to be an analyst, especially if you're managing large asset portfolios and so on. So this is one thing that you have to observe. So it's not just a political opinion, it's not just markets, it's all of these things combined together, plus, for example, reaction of monetary policy. Mm-hmm. So if you have quantitative easing, and if it doesn't work anymore, we cannot provide more money into the banking system, then we have to look at another policy, which would be a fiscal policy. So we'll be looking at increasing spending, and this, is very unpopular in some countries as well. But these are the things that you have to look as an analyst, and so you have one of these two things, or you have cutbacks in the corporate sector. Yes.
I think the message there is think big.
Yes.
Think big and prepare. I do have a question, I think for Matthias actually coming up, and Daniel, thank you for your question. But I'm going to jump now to Matthias, who's going to give an overview of the course, because you talked a little bit here, we've talked a little bit about the macro level, the high level stuff, and how this course fits into that, or vice versa. But Matthias can talk a little bit more about the details of the course. So before I come, Matthias, to Daniel's question, please go ahead and tell us a bit more about the course.
Yeah, welcome. It's a pleasure to see you today and that you signed on for the program. Now, I'm going to take you on some of the details about the two programs we run here at Cranfield. Now, the first one is the MSc program in Finance and Management, and the other one is the MSc program in Investment Management. These are two different programs. I'm going to explain to you the content of these programs, and I'm sure you can see the slides as well as we go through them. All right. Now, first of all, I want to assume that you know a little bit about Cranfield. Now, for some of you who are not quite familiar with the university and the programs we run here, we are postgraduate university. So what that means is that we only run programs from the master's program. So we don't have undergraduate programs. I hope you're very familiar with this. So we run programs in science, in technology, in management, and engineering. So those are the areas we specialize. And we've been doing this for the past 50 years. So it's a very old university, if you like. Now, in the School of Management in particular, we are very strong with our link with the industry. So we tend to have a very strong bond with industry. And that's why a lot of people who pass through our doors have a lot of interaction with industry. It's easier perhaps to be more equipped to go to the place of work. Now, talking about some of the rankings or the level where we operate. Now, we are among the few universities in the world that has achieved a triple accreditation. Now, you might want to check this out. We have accreditation from the Association of Advanced Collegiate Schools of Business, the AACSB. That's a very important one. We are also being accredited by the Association of MBAs, which we call the AMBA. And then the third one is the European Quality Improvement System. Now, these are very important accreditations that have been achieved by just few schools in the world. So we're very proud of that. And in terms of our ranking, as our 2018 ranking, according to the Financial Times, our program in the School of Management is ranked 6th in the UK, 17 in Europe. So that's a very good achievement. So when you apply to Cranfield, you can be rest assured that you're coming into a program that is well recognized by employers all over the world. All right, now just a further on the rankings of our finance program. Now we are ranked by different bodies. So we have ranking from the Financial Times, we have ranking from the Wall Street Journal, from the Times Higher Education, from the World University Ranking as well. So different ranking bodies. And you can see that we will rank very top in these different rankings. The Financial Times, as I said, we're ranked 6th in the UK and 32nd in the world. Yeah, we're working hard to make sure we improve on this each year. Now, again, we also have our rankings within the Financial Times. We are 13 in the UK and 48 in the world in terms of world career progress. So people who progress, our graduates who pass through the program tend to make progress very quickly according to this ranking. In terms of career service as well, our ranking is about 15th in the UK. So it's a well-ranked program. Now the Wall Street Journal as well as the Times Higher Education ranking also puts us, in fact, 2nd in the UK, which is even better ranking. 4th in Europe and about 6th in the world. So these programs are well ranked. We're talking about the finance programs. And then our Masters in Finance as well, as at 2019, the World University Ranking puts us 9th in the UK. And in the world, we are ranked 39th position. So it's a global sort of ranking, and the program is well recognized, right? Now, we're also very proud of the kind of people we work with all over the world. So we have organizations we work with, and these organizations are all over, perhaps where you're coming from. You must have seen some of these organizations, whether in the UK or outside the UK. So we work with different organizations, about 1,500.
Actually,
businesses.
Matthias, can I ask you a question on that one? Because the question's just come in on that point.
All right.
What are the types of companies you have industry connections with? Are they mostly finance companies? Are they across sectors? Say more about that.
Yeah, good. So as you can see on the screen, you see that these are organizations that cut across industries, government agencies, businesses. So you see things like Aviva, you think BS Systems, Grant Thornton, Jacobs. These are different companies from different industries. We do a lot of work with government agencies across the world. We do a lot of work with the finance industry, banks, insurance companies, and several of such other organizations. So it's not just limited to finance or to banks, but across different industries. Right?
Thank you.
Good. All right, so moving on from here, so our programs, as I said, we have two different programs. And I want to take some time to explain the difference and similarity between these two programs. The MSc Finance and Management program and the MSc Investment Management. Now, talking about the MSc Finance program, is a very important program because this is a program that impacts students with tools, and the techniques they need both in finance and in management. So you see the title of this course is Finance and Management. Now, this is very important, especially for those who are aspiring to be finance managers in your place of work, or perhaps you want to change career into finance. This is kind of program that might be very well suited for you. Now, the MSc Investment Management program is quite similar, but this is actually tailored to equip students with the kind of tools they need for investment management. So whether it's fund investment or works on portfolio management issues around that area. So these are the sort of programs we run. So there are two distinct programs. And over the years, students who have gone through these programs have actually enjoyed it. I'm going to play a video later on of some of what some of our students, our graduates, think about this program. Right.
Matthias, thank you. Can I just stop you there for a second? There is a question from Daniel,
All right.
and I think this is possibly, Nemanja, this is a question for you. Daniel, thank you for your question. I have a question regarding GMAT. I am delaying submitting my application until I complete it. Is this necessary, or can I submit my application first and inform you of my results once I've completed it? What would you say on that?
Yes, both routes are fine. If you preferably you would submit the full application with everything, but sometimes it's not feasible for different reasons. So if, for example, your qualification allows you to get an offer, we would make you an offer, and then you would actually have to, you will have conditional offer that you have to complete a required level of English test, assuming you're coming from non-English speaking country. So that would be just the requirement. Pending you complete GMAT with the required score, in addition to your already approved degree, you are in the course, yes.
Great. So Daniel, if you want to come back on that one, please let us know on text chat and we can clarify that point. Matthias, sorry, I interrupted you. Oh, Rahul has a question. Sorry, before we go back to Matthias. Is GMAT essential to enroll in the course? Is there any other entrance tests like IELTS that I can do?
Yes, you can. It's not. It doesn't need to be GMAT. It has to be a minimum required English level test. For example, for IELTS, it's 6.5 on the average, or it is minimum 6.0 across the different categories for this particular program. So you can have either of the two. It doesn't really matter as far as you meet the required level of criteria.
Brilliant. Thank you.
I think just for you guys, it should be on the web page on that. But in any case, if you are submitting an application and you are not really sure about that, you can always submit your question with your application to the admission team. And they would, either reply to you directly, or if they are not sure, they would go back to me, and then I would reply to you directly with an answer on that.
Brilliant, thank you. Any more questions? Please keep them coming. Matthias, back to you, please.
All right, thank you. All right, so I've explained the two programs we have, the MSc Finance and Management and Investment Management. I guess some of you will be applying for either the MSc Finance and Management or Investment Management. Right. All right, now we'll about these programs, so some interesting things about our programs is that our faculty are people who are quite experienced in these areas, whether in finance or in investment management. So usually we have a huge amount of people, both within the school and outside, who come sometimes to do presentations. So we invite people from the industry, perhaps to give seminars and other sort of programs. But also our approach to teaching finance and investment management is also very special, because we tend to use case studies. The case studies that are reflective of what is in practice. So students can understand the storyline behind what we teach in class. And I think this is very, very important. So watch out for these case studies when you're here, because these case studies are usually very detailed and we encourage students to read them before the class, usually. All right, now some of you will be interested in the CFA qualification. Most of our students actually do, so I suspect you might be interested in CFA as well. Now, our programs, the MSc Finance and Management and Investment Management, cover much of what you do in the CFA. So if your plan is to go towards CFA route, then that will be very beneficial for you. And we actually help students as well to prepare for these exams. So most of our students would usually take some time out to prepare for this exam, and then we'll make sure we get them through the tutorial to help them go through these exams. And quite a lot of them have been quite successful in these exams as well. All right, now I want to play you a short video of what some of our students, think about these programs, because we've had a lot of students who have some good stories to tell about Cranfield School of Management and the Finance and Investment Management, as well as the other programs we have. Now, just take a listen of what one of the students, Kingston Wosu, said about this program.
Having worked for a few years, I was looking for a course that would give me knowledge of not just the theoretical side of finance, but something that would give me more professional industry kind of knowledge. And I looked through the website of several schools to see the course outline and what they had to offer. I was particularly impressed with Cranfield because I saw that they offered several courses like private equity, infrastructure finance, corporate finance, M&A. These really gave me much interest, and that was why I chose, one of the major reasons I chose to come to Cranfield. Well, some of the highlights for me is the environment is very conducive for learning, and we have very good lecturers who take their time to bring in the practical side of the courses that they teach. Most of them have worked in the industry before, so they're able to provide a good blend of both the theoretical teachings and what the industry provides. And at the same time, I've had wonderful colleagues. I've learned so much from them, people from different countries, different experiences, different backgrounds. It's been a whole lot of experience for me. For several of our courses, we've been asked to deliver presentations in class to test the knowledge of what we've gained. And that has been really, really good because it helps us not just to show what we've learned, it also develops our public speaking skills. It also helps to develop our, ability to communicate effectively. And by working in teams with our colleagues, we are also able to understand human interaction, human relations. That has been very good. And particularly a course we did, business simulation, where we had to, serve as if we were in a board situation and make decisions on a company. It was really intellectually stimulating because we had to make some good financial decisions. I really enjoyed it. Every Friday, most Fridays, we usually have guest speaker sessions. So we invite people who are established in the industry and in their professions. So they come and speak to us about different topical issues that's going on in their industry space. We've had people from the asset management, we've had people from private equity, we'll have people, even past students, come in and tell us about their experience, how they were able to transition from being students to getting their jobs. So it's been a whole lot of practicals. That's the more important thing for me. The practical aspect of the course is what I really find interesting. Yeah, another reason why I chose this course is because it's called Finance and Management. And that means I'm not just getting technical knowledge on finance, I'm also getting real management skills of how to, coordinate an institution. There are two particular courses with this, strategic management and organizational management. Those courses gave us a real exposure with case studies to teach us how companies have grown and how they've been able to maneuver the different life cycles that they've gone through to become successful. For me, I'm just enjoying my moments here. I'm having a lot of good time with my colleagues, with my classmates, really friendly, wonderful people.
Matthias, thanks for sharing that. Can I just ask, was that a real student? That wasn't an actor, that was a real student?
Sure, it can be sure as a real student.
Before you go any further, there are two more questions which I think I need to ask Nemanja, which is a clarification from Daniel. So Daniel, thank you for coming back to Nemanja's point. Just to clarify something on my previous question, I'm a native English speaker having lived in the UK my whole life. Are the GMATs and IELTS still necessary given those circumstances?
Yes, well, I'm just going to guess that if you have lived here all your life, you have passed the degree here, so by that default you would not need, so yes.
Okay, and another question whilst you're there, this is from Sweta. I have applied for an MSc in Finance and Management in the first week of January. Until when should I expect my offer?
Well, I'm sorry, if you, we have a somewhat of a backlog because of very unusual high volume of application across the university. So we have been a little bit slow. We do apologize to all of you who have been waiting longer than usual. If you can send an email, you can find my email on the course web pages. If you can just send me an email and ask me if you have the ID number of the applications, I can then process this as a matter of priority for you, because it might be somewhere in the backlog, and the only way for me to know it would be if I know your application number, so then I would be able to address it quickly.
So Shweta, thank you for that question.
But
Great
hopefully
question.
by the end of this week it will be processed. Yeah.
Brilliant. Keep those questions coming. Matthias, we've interrupted you again, so please, back over to you.
All right,
Tell us more.
I hope you enjoyed the video. Did you notice what the student actually enjoyed most? The practical side of the program, the interaction, the seminars, the guest speakers that we usually have here on the program. All right, so it's very, very helpful for students who want to learn both how to manage and how to also work within the finance industry. All right, now he also talked about the faculty we have. Well, if you check on the web page, you will see the profile of the staff we have, the academic staff we have in the program, and their experience as well. Quite a few of them there. I'll take you to some of the modules we offer here on these two programs. I'm sure you can see this slide very well. Now, one is for the Finance and Management program, and the other one is for the Investment Management programs. They offer some similar sort of models, but there are also ones that are a little bit different from these programs. Now, you see the accounting program is offered on both programs. So the accounting model is offered on both programs. Actually, that's my model. And then we have the economics for financial markets. We have the financial markets regulation and ethics. We have the organizational management, and we have the research method in finance, as well as the statistical analysis for finance. These are all offered on both programs, as well as the corporate finance. Now, these are models we offer on both programs. Now, at certain stage on the program, the students will be asked to select some electives. And these electives are very broad. If you look at the bottom of that slide, you see the number of electives we have. In fact, on this program, we pride ourselves as among the few universities offering finance programs that have huge amount of electives. So depending on your area of interest, you might be able to find out which elective you want to know, whether it has to do with applied financial econometrics, blockchain, corporate restructuring, merger and acquisition, quite a lot of it. And these are taken by specialists in those areas. So you see as well that there are some modules offered in investment management, but not in finance and management program. So you see modules like investment and portfolio management, derivative and financial risk management. These are specialist modules for the investment management program. So whichever program you're applying for, perhaps it might be important for you to actually look at these details on our website. So
Matthias, quick question on that.
Okay.
This is from Cuthbert. Don't know if it's already been answered, a bit late, but when can we expect a decision on applications? That could be Nemanja, that could be you, Matthias.
Yes,
Go ahead.
It all depends when you applied, but as I said, we had the backlog, so realistically we're looking at a 2-3 week turnover, but with the backlog it might take a little bit longer than that. So, but if you are really thinking that this is taking too much of your time to get a decision, which has been like university-wide backlog, please do send an email, as I said, to me, and I will try to expedite it as much as I can on our side as a program director and deputy director. So I would need your applicant number and date of your submission, and I'll process it as a matter of priority on my side.
And Nemanja's email address is in the text chat section. So if you don't know his address, n.radic@cranfield.ac.uk, is in the text chat.
Just to say that don't assume that we are not processing because we are not happy with the profile or anything. It is just sheer number of applications across university that have happened after the Christmas break, that it's just logistically it's almost very difficult to deal with in time scale that we are looking at. But as I said, in your case, just expedite it to me. I'll try on our side to speed up the process as much as I can.
You're looking at a popular course, so please get booked in. So Matthias, sorry we've interrupted you again. Please carry on.
All right, good. So back to the script. Now, I know I mentioned about the CFA. Now, quite interesting what happened here at Cranfield. We usually have what we call the CFA Institute Research Challenge. And most of our students have gone into this challenge, and they've been actually very incredibly, successful in the competition. Last year, for instance, we came second, and this program has been going on. It's an annual global competition. So if you're here at Cranfield, perhaps you might be qualified to be selected among those who will represent us in this challenge. So it's for those who are interested in CFA-related programs. All right. Now we also have the Bloomberg Trading Challenge. Now some of you might want to be traders. You want to, work in the stock market or know how the stock market operates. So we have a Bloomberg suite where students could actually go there to practice, trading, look at the stock prices, how stocks are traded, or bonds, or whatever thing you are interested in. So the Bloomberg actually organizes, again, a trading challenge. And our students, this year, we're preparing them for that. And hopefully, we're going to tell you the result at the end of the period. Again, it's something to watch out for. And these are some of the things that we do here on these programs. So this is open for both the finance and management as well as the investment management programs. All right, now the faculty we have at Cranfield, as I said, they're quite qualified people. They're specialists in their own areas, and they are renowned all over the world. So these are the sort of research we currently engage in. Some are in financial regulation, assets pricing, in different areas, market efficiency. We have people working on mergers and acquisition, private equity, or banking, or corporate governance. You can end the list. The list is very long. And we work with industries, people across industries. And sometimes, as I said, we invite speakers to come and speak to our students. And these speakers come from different areas, whether it's in the banking sector or in the manufacturing setting or other areas within finance. So we have quite a list of these ones, and they usually come to tell our students about what is happening in the industry, how they can position themselves, so that at the point of graduation, they'll be more qualified and have the awareness of what the industry actually expects of the graduates. All right, so watch out for these seminar programs whenever you're here. I'm sure you'll benefit when these speakers come around. All right, so we have, within the school, we have quite a number of facilities that will help your stay to be enjoyable. Lecture rooms, perhaps when you're here, you'll see the sort of standard lecture rooms we have. We have meeting rooms where students can have meetings. Perhaps you want to have a meeting with some of your colleagues. We have rooms booked where you can sit down and have meetings. We have library that are very equipped. We have computer studio where students can go and work on the computers. If they don't have laptop, we have television and radio studio where a lot of things actually go on within the area. So these are the sort of things that make us outstanding in terms of what we offer at Cranfield.
Matthias, there's a question just come in. I'm not sure if it's yourself or Nemanja. Yeah. Do you suggest that we have certain learning concepts related to finance and accounting before we arrive? So is there pre-learning? If yes, what are the pre-study materials or concepts that you recommend?
Yeah, I mean, most of our students from perhaps have finance background, accounting and finance background. But there are quite a lot of students too who perhaps want to change career, You know, they're in engineering, they're in the medical field, or they're in business, they want to come into finance. So you don't necessarily have to have those sort of pre-learning experience before coming to finance. Once you come from the first day, we start teaching you from there, right? So don't panic so much if you're not familiar with some of those finance concepts. But it might be important for you perhaps to take interest in some of the materials that are very helpful.
Nemanja, I think you've got a question or a follow-on point from that. Please go ahead.
Yes, usually we have this question that comes often, and I've had it throughout a chat with admissions and so on. So what kind of students are we specifically looking at to attract to our programs? What kind of careers should you have before that? What undergraduate degree can it be, and so on? So we are looking at particularly three groups of students. The first group of students, like Matthias said, is that if you have some background in finance and accounting, and then you are finishing your undergraduate degree, so you want to kickstart this with some postgraduate degree, so your early career prospect, which is fine. That is the first type of the student we are looking for. The next group is those who want to kickstart their career further. So you have been working for a while, you have some background in the finance, and then you want to extend the knowledge and provide more experience overall. And so this is the second group. The third group is actually, and many of our alumni are like that, they have no particular finance background. They can come from law degree, they can come from chemical engineering, they can come from mathematics. Last year we had one student with a bachelor degree in arts. She turned out to be a brilliant student in the program. So program is tailored actually for every need. Of course, if you have more skills, it will be easier for you to progress down the line, but everybody has equal chance at the beginning. So you can start and you would not be left behind. It is up to only hard work that you put in yourself. So no preference. We do look at different profiles, and depending on the quality and the number of applicants, that mainly determines each year who gets in or who doesn't get in. But overall, no particular. We look even for the students who are outside of this particular area.
So that last question about what pre-learning, there is no pre-learning by the sound of it.
Yes, I mean, the syllabus is made so everybody can catch up. So it would not be impossible for people who have very little understanding to catch up. I think Matthias also provides a crash course on accounting, so which is what we are also worried about a little bit. If you think that you don't have enough background, I as a course director would advise you that you come on the orientation week before the course starts for 1 or 2 weeks, and you do accounting sessions with Matthias, or you do statistical introduction to statistical analysis sessions as well before the course starts, which is usually the skills that some of students who have different background lack. So you would have this pre-training, and then you would start the course, and you would have a normal exposure as any other student. But
following up on that question, Daniel has a follow-up. For those that are changing careers, are we disadvantaged in securing permanent roles after graduating if we do not have relevant work experience? Is that your experience?
No, I mean, it depends also from the type of the career, type of the change that you are looking for, and the reason. Like, for example, as I said, we have had just recently the visiting speaker from Crossbridge Capital. He's our alumni from 15 years ago. His background was engineering, and to be specific, chemical engineering. So it is very, very different to what we do in the finance. And so one of the questions that he got is, okay, so why would we take you? You have this experience and this undergraduate degree. Now you have a top-up degree in the finance. What makes you qualified for the position here? And he managed to get in the company at that time. He managed, if I remember correctly, he went to Societe Generale. He went into a trading department, and now he's he's chief investment officer for one large asset management group actually in London. And he's part of our advisory panel. We invite them regularly for our sessions. So no. It's up to you. The interview is more how you sell yourself rather than what they particularly look at. So it would be quite few things that we potentially will address when you have career sessions with some of our services here, and also with some of our lecturers in the class.
Brilliant. So Daniel,
hopefully that answers it.
The answer is no disadvantage. Question from Ryan. For the past graduates of the MSc in Finance and Management, what kind of positions, other than finance related, were they competent in the workplace? They were competent in the workplace. I'm not sure what kind of positions other than finance related they were competent in the workplace. That's the question from Ryan.
Okay, so you mean like, so the skills are multifaceted. And what we tell our students also is that while I acknowledge that majority of you want to be in the banking related industries or mergers and acquisition or advisory, when we bring the external speakers, we aim to give you a prelude of their experience and their current opinion on that. So, for example, we always tell to our students, if you're looking a career in private equity, that's very specialized area. So they look for particular profiles with particular already predefined skills. So it tends to be a little bit more difficult to get in there. A easier route would be to go into a traditional banking route job and then switch positions from there within the organization to the similar type of the role. Yeah, I think that covers it. Hopefully that covers it. Yeah.
And just to follow on your point earlier on the pre-reading, if anyone hasn't got a finance investment background and wants to know more, there is a reading list. Please email Matthias to find that reading list. So if you are worried about that, and you don't need to be from what you've heard, then please email Matthias, and we'll get Matthias's email up there as well.
Just a clarification. So every module that you saw on the list there would have a reading list. The reading list comprises of the list of textbooks we provide you that are relevant to your learning process. We acknowledge that every student might have different way of accessing and learning, and so we give quite a few different titles. So one title might suit me very well. It's not necessarily going to suit very well you or Matthias. So you can then juggle around these kind of things. If you do struggle more, we always approach one of us, and then we try to find alternative solution to that as well.
Brilliant. Keep those questions coming. We haven't got much more time, but I'm going to go back to Matthias now, who hasn't quite finished the presentation. So please, Matthias, go ahead.
All right, thanks. Now, just to take you on the few remaining bits, the alumni network we have on this program is very huge. Now, I guess the number of alumni we have, just about 65,000. That's quite huge, the program. And this cut across over 169 countries. So you might be one of them very soon. Watch out for that. And we have ranking as well for that. We are ranked #1 in terms of our alumni network. So it's something we're very happy about, and we encourage our students to make sure they register or join this alumni community whenever they are here. So we have quite a number of opportunities for our alumni when they finish from our programs. So if you want to do a further program, executive program, you have discounted fees, etc., etc. You'll find those details when you come to Cranfield. All right, now these are some of the comments from our alumni, so you can read this up for yourself. This is a very interesting comment. This is from Tobias. He said, Cranfield offers a unique mix of lecturers. I thought that's a very interesting comment to make. We had theoretical courses with astounding academic faculty, but also practical courses like financial markets, taught by practitioners that gave us the perfect mixture of perspective on specific topics. So we have huge comments, positive comments from our alumni community. Now, if you'll find more from our website, there are quite a number of comments there, and I'm sure you can interact with these ones as well online. You can look at the blogs, the details on the screen. I'm sure you can see those sort of comments from different people. And these are students that have enjoyed the program, and I'm sure they will recommend the courses as well to you. All right. Now, we look forward to meeting you on the 28th of September. That will be the enrollment date, and that's for the 2020 registration. So if you have not sent your application yet, try and do so, because as Nemanja said, the huge number of applications we'll have this year is quite much, but we're working through them. Hopefully, if you've submitted your application already, you'll be getting your response very soon. Now we have time for your questions. Please, if you have more, we'll be very happy to ask them. Right? Thank you so much for your time.
Matthias, thank you very much indeed. We do have a bunch more questions, so thank you. 28th of September, there was the deadline date. There was also an open day, if you're at all intrigued to find out more and meet Matthias Nemanja here and the rest of the people that you saw on that slide of faces. 14th of March, Saturday the 14th of March, is an open day here at Cranfield University. Please get yourself along to that, and please register for that online.
I mean, this applies for Daniel in particular if he's here, because we do have, in many
Daniel,
cases,
listen out.
Yeah, or anybody who can attend. We either do a lecture, one of us, or one of our colleagues, depending on the week, because we do a couple of those sessions in the year. But one of us is for sure there, so we can address any questions that you have also there live when we see you guys.
Brilliant. I want to ask you a question that you seem to be interested in, which is financial cybersecurity and risk management.
Yes.
Where is the industry going, and what is financial cybersecurity risk management? Because that's one of your pet topics.
Yes, I mean, I'm glad that you asked, because this is, I guess, related to what shall we do, and we are always trying to find a way to steer our students to a little bit more hot topics, should we say, where their life will be easier. So in finance, you always have bubbles, so you always have things that work very well, and then they cool down, and then you always have to look for another alternative route and so on, especially for new graduates. So now the topic that is very interesting that the companies invest a lot of money in is actually cybersecurity, because this is where the majority of the losses happens. And so if you follow the recent news or the risk net, you will find that the losses are from 575 billion to almost 1 trillion on the corporate sector. So
incredible.
They are looking to pay large premiums. They are looking to employ more people to manage this. So they are looking to find any advantage they can, any way they can track the losses, they can mitigate the losses, they can hedge the losses. So they're looking to actually employ quite a lot of people in this area. This creates a lot of potential problems for companies, financial institutions, and so on. Loss of reputation, loss of shareholder value, data leaks as well. So all of these are irreparable potential losses for a company. So they're trying to, if they can, they're going to mitigate the risk. If they cannot, they will try to avoid it. If they cannot avoid it, then they will suffer very painful penalties and costs.
Do you cover any of that on the course, the current course?
Yes, there are models that touch on particular things on that, especially. So one of the things that we do in financial markets regulation and ethics, we try to touch on these things, why they are important and how to mitigate that. There is a model called derivative and financial risk management. We do some of the hedging ideas in portfolio in international corporate finance. There is a business simulation class, so we do some kind of hedging of the different portfolios and so on. Valuation model also touches something on that. So it's a cross section in different models.
And fintech as well, I'm assuming.
Yes,
You do a lot of
yes,
that.
Yes.
There's a question here from Cuthbert. Are admissions made on a rolling admissions basis? If we understand, Cuthbert, your question there. Rolling admissions. I'm assuming that means first come, first serve. Cuthbert, let us know if you've understood that question correctly.
I mean, if not, she can always throw another one at us. So it is always first come, first serve basis, but I mean, we don't close per se, so we're not going to close. If we close the number of students per year, you would know it before you would apply it, so you would be still considered for the application. So yes, this is just in terms of managing the total number of applicants that has been proven very challenging for us this year, unfortunately. But this is where we are. But it doesn't impact you, no. So my answer would be no.
And Vicky is just reminding us that there is a blockchain, cryptocurrencies and smart contracts section on the course, so you will be covering that. Cuthbert,
Yes.
you had another question there, so do feel free to get that other question in quickly. We're going to be wrapping up fairly soon. Oh, here's the second question, well timed there. If one is studying the MSc in Finance and Management and is interested in the risk management course, which is covered in the MSc in Investment Management, can they choose to still study that course? Is that an option?
No, but there is because I have to emphasize this, as you saw from the list from Matthias, the two programs, in the first two terms, the difference is in two models. So the one of the models being the one that you actually highlighted now, the other one being derivative that I mentioned. So if you see by the end of the term 2, we tolerate this, and I as director of program have allowed quite a few changes in the current year. So if you think that for you during the year it would be better to concentrate more on risk management side of the or investment side, then you would apply for change of the program and I would approve it. But it has to be done before the end of December, and then you would be moving to the investment management program. So realistically, that is just the two model difference. Realistically, in the two terms, in the term 3, it is a personal choice. So it will differ from the student to student, irrespective of the program as well. So yes.
So you're the boss. So email you to find out any
deviations. But I would be happy to. I discussed it with students all the time, and in vast majority of the cases, I approve the change in that context. But I always want to talk to you before you make an appeal to do that, just that I understand your reasons, and then I can provide you my take on that. But usually the answer is yes, that's fine.
I think you've figured out by now that we are very keen to keep hearing from you. So this is not your last chance to ask questions. You've seen Matthias's email address and Nemanja's email address. And you have the webpage there, you have the open day on the 14th of March, and the submission deadline 28th of September. So please keep in contact with us. If there's any last thought that you would leave people with, what would that be, preparing to come on this course?
One thing that I think for Cranfield is very common, but uncommon so much for other universities, is this so-called Cranfield experience, as we say it. So we do have a large number of students in the program, but that doesn't translate necessarily to the class experience. So what that means in the practice, you would be split up in the streams. So you would have no larger group than around, depending on the year, but let's say around 50 to 60 students per stream. But every stream would be then be split about in the student groups, and the student groups would have their individual tutors. And if you also have your coursework assignments, these groups would be your coursework groups as well. So this allows, and we just don't allocate you randomly to these groups. We choose a specific profile, diversity of the students in gender, age, country. So we have quite variety in these groups, so you are exposed to different things. So we actually put you out of your comfort zone, as I said to you, so you're able to adapt and be able to operate in multicultural and global environment per se. While you're in small group, you are still able to do that.
It's not an uncomfortable course,
Yes.
but you will be out of your comfort zones. Just as we're finishing, there's two quick questions that have come in. When do we have to select our electives for the course? And does the university provide any guidance during the decision-making process for electives?
Yes, I do. This year it has been, we have asked students early to do it in the first term. We usually do it, well actually the deadline is the end of this week, if you're looking at this particular year. So we usually do that before the term 3 starts, that all electives have been selected, because for majority of them we bring external speakers, experts from the industry for that. So we need your choices before, and then any changes, they need to be done, they need to be managed before. So hopefully that answers the question. Was there another one?
That is, yeah, Shweta's got a question. Is it manageable to do part-time jobs during the course? Is that your awareness of students doing jobs whilst they're studying here at
That's
Cranfield?
a good question. So our experience has not been good when students went to do any kind of job during the program for a variety of reasons. Usually it doesn't happen during the program per se. I do have to say this is not a part-time course, so the course is very extensive. So bear in mind it would be very difficult to get good grades if you are still doing a part-time job. I'm not saying no, just it is a difficult task. From practical point of view, 2 years ago we had one of the best students in our cohort ever. She finished the third part of the program, the models that you saw from Matthias, with almost 80 plus average.
Wow.
She started to work, I'm not going to say the company, just for privacy reasons. She started to work before she started dissertation. And then from that onwards, it was a roller coaster ride, because the work consumed her time. So she didn't have time to actually complete dissertation. So it was a never-ending story of extensions, problems, and so on. And probably it was her worst mark in the program and one of the lowest marks that we got as a result of that. So it is something to look at. But I mean, I do talk a lot with students before they apply to that. We do internships. We have had private events, just to maybe point this out. We don't provide you jobs. We are not a career service. We do have a career service in Cranfield that gives you different guidelines on how to approach CV building, applying for jobs, and so on. We have had a private event in Wells Fargo this year with our students, where we had a panel of industry speakers, our former alumni. They were talking about different topics, employability, and different things for our students. And so we tried to get you to understand what is happening, what is the requirement, what kind of things they would ask you, how much time you need to allocate for this, even if you're doing internship, so you're aware of that. Okay. And one other thing is in relation to CFA scholarship, is that students always ask, should we do the scholarship while we do the program? My answer, yes, you can. Just the question would be, if you're a very good student, yes, because you can manage your time better. If you are very weak student and you know that by the end of the term 1, then my advice, friendly advice or family advice, whatever you want to call it, would be maybe wait until you finish the program and you achieve better marks in the second term on that. Whether you should do the CFA 2 level or 3, that is a tough exam. So my answer would always be wait a little bit later on for that.
It sounds like hard work. There's 3 more questions come in quickly. We're probably going to go over the time limit, so apologies for that.
Yes.
But the next question from Rahul is there a substantial difference in fees between UK students and overseas students? Oh, sorry, there is a substantial difference in fees. Why is that?
When you're referring to the fees between the domestic students and overseas students. Okay?
EU, UK students and overseas students, yeah.
Yes, I mean it's a university policy. I mean I would like to give you more information on that, but I mean I do not determine the fee structure, unfortunately. So it is any university would be like this. It is to do with the political environment and other things and so on. If you are international student, though, I have to also mention this. Depending on the country, as a program and as a university, we have partnerships. So you might be eligible for some kind of offer, either from me, course director, or from on the university-based agreement. So that is worth checking. Usually it is on our web page. There should be some kind of advice on bursaries, student help, financial help, or these kind of things. So there is always information on that online.
Brilliant. And you saw that scrolling text earlier on. That's the contact details if you have more
so
for that. Another quick question. Is there a competition for popular electives?
Yes, there is, and you would be surprised. It varies from year to year. What I can tell you that the more hot topics in the last 2 years have been private equity and M&A, or mergers and acquisitions, and it would vary year to year. But I would that's why I would say that take your time in the first term. If you come to the program, my advice is always take your time in the first term. See how well you are doing in these modules. See how things are going for you, depending on your preference going forward. Things that you want to do, and then make your choice of the electives. It's not fixed in the stone. You still have time until, like I told you, almost February to even change if you have already made the selection on that.
Okay, one last question. This is real quickie. Do you have an experience of students commuting in to Cranfield from London?
Yes, I do. One potential difficulty will be we try to give equal amount of weighting to each student's streams and groups, because you would be fitted in those. So equal amount of times you would be slotted in early time and then later in the afternoon. So for example, if you have a class starting from 8:30, one stream would be 8:30 to 10:30, another stream would be 10:30 to 12:30. So let's say 5 weeks you would be 8:30 to 10, and then 5 weeks 10:30 to 12:30. So this is something just from practical point of view. But yes, I mean we have students from Milton Keynes, from locally Cambridge, Bedford,
London.
They commute Peterborough, London, obviously, yes.
Brilliant. Thank you for your questions. I'm going to pass over to Matthias now one last time just to say, is there anything that you recommend, Matthias, that people do before coming on the course?
Yes, I think I would advise that people who want to come on this program have to prepare your mind first. I think that's the most important thing. Prepare your mind. Of course, finance, depends on your background. Some, as I said, may be coming from engineering, from agriculture. We have had people from medicine who want to go into finance, for different reasons. It might be important for you to go through the modules we have, the description of these modules, the reading material, if you have access to those. But don't worry if you don't. At least pick some interest on what the topics are all about. Prepare your mind. Students who are prepared from day one usually succeed quite much. So that would be my number one advice. And the second one is try to be on time. Make sure you're here before the session starts. We usually offer a pre-session by a week, so that students who want to strengthen their accounting background or statistics or finance can take advantage of this opportunity. So look out for this, and when you're here on time, a week before, it gives you the opportunity to actually get prepared before we start. That would be my advice.
Matthias, thank you very much indeed. Yeah. Timely advice. And bear in mind those 2 days, 28th of September, application deadline, and the 14th of March. We look forward to welcoming those of you that can join us physically here. Nemanja, you have one last point.
Just quickly,
one last point. We are over time.
Thank you for coming on the webinar. We are probably looking to have 1 or 2 more later in the year. Probably they will inform you of that. One thing I can tell you though, on our side, bear with us. If you have submitted your application a little bit earlier and you're not getting any response, as we suggested before, please do contact me, send me an email. We will try to expedite it as much as we can. Okay, so it is not info on your application. The quality is just the sheer number of the applications that we have. So
brilliant.
Thank you very much for coming on board.
Thank you for your time. You've had a busy day. You've probably got busy days ahead of you. So we look forward to seeing you at Cranfield. Thank you very much. And yes, we look forward to seeing you. Cheers.